another smoke session. Today's smoke session will actually be.
What you gotta say, but don't play. Say what you gotta say, but don't play. Say what you gotta say, but don't play.
What is up, you guys? It's your spiritual fairy godmother, and I am back, okay? Except for I'm not back with another read. I am back with a smoke session. I don't know if y'all can tell, my energy is very nervous. It's all over the place. We doing a deep topic today. So yeah, whatever y'all got, whether y'all got a blunt, bong, some tea, some wine, your morning coffee, your nightly coffee, I don't know, whatever you got, go ahead and get it together. Get your snacks, your popcorn, whatever you want, because today's topic is going to be a good one. So yeah, cheers. I needed that first to kind of get us started, to get us, to get me going. Okay, so today's topic will be how sexual trauma affects you. Like how it affects you in relationships, how it affects you growing up, how it affects you as a woman. I cannot speak for a man. I don't personally know any man who has been sexually assaulted, but you see it on TV. They are definitely still affected. They are definitely still victims. So if you are a man in the comments and you are willing to share your journey or willing to maybe talk about your side or your experience, definitely allow this to be a safe space. Leave comments down below, you guys, if you guys have experienced any kind of sexual assault, any kind of sexual trauma. Okay, so I had to write down some things just so that I can remember and stay on track. Y'all know usually in these videos I kind of tell y'all where it came from. I was watching Mary J. Blige Behind the Music interview, and she talked about her being molested from the beginning of the episode until the end. So even in her later years of life, she's still being affected by something that happened when she was 5 years old. So I wanted to kind of talk about how I've been affected by sexual trauma, and yeah, so let's do it. I don't even know where to start. So first, I guess I'll start by kind of like what happened to me. I was first molested at the age of 4 by a family member. I was molested a little bit growing up, just from like family friends or like other children. It wasn't anybody like super older, or it was family members and just family friends, stuff like that. And then when I got into a relationship with my first child's father, I was raped twice while I was pregnant. So, and yes, you can be raped while in a relationship, while married, and it happens all the time, and it's something that's not really talked about. But I feel like as a woman, a part of my journey is to speak about the things that we experience, birth, motherhood, womanhood in general. And I feel like the things that happened to me really shaped me as a woman. And I feel like I'm still not even healed. I'm still probably not even in a state of peace. But I feel like I am now, like I know that there's probably shit that will come out with my husband or with intimate people that I have in my life, or men along my dating journey, now that I'm single. So I want to acknowledge where I am right now and pay attention to me at 27 and the things that I've kind of recognized about myself in these last couple years. I feel like my 20s have been such a pivotal moment for my childhood trauma. I feel like in my 20s, I finally told my mom about what happened. I finally told my brother. I guess I would say like I told my family. You know, I guess I was 19, but 19, I had told anybody for the first time. I had told a boyfriend of mine, my first love, what had happened to me. And I remember him having to kind of not dig it out of me, but it was like, well, why do you sleep like this? Or why do you like ball yourself up? Or why do you, so it came out organically. So I feel like thankful in that sense. I don't know how things would have turned out if I would have said something when I was a kid, But then, as a kid, holding so much sexual trauma in and not knowing who to talk to about it, not understanding what happened to your body, not understanding how somebody who is a family member or somebody that you love or somebody that's close to you, how they could hurt you. Like it really, and then to experience childhood trauma and then to be raped as an adult pregnant woman, it was like reliving my trauma all over again. So for me, my trauma made me feel not protected. As a kid, I was very secretive. Even though I had friends, I didn't really talk to people about my life or about my inner dialogue or about my thoughts because I felt crazy. Growing up, I also had a grandmother. I also have a grandmother. She's still with me. I have a grandmother who, when I was a kid, they acted like was so crazy and, was so different. And as a kid, you don't understand what's going on. You don't know about struggles and, mental illness or anything like that. So I felt my grandma, but I was also scared of being like her. But in my mind, it was like, I probably had some of those same thoughts. But if my grandma shows this and this happens, what's going to happen if I tell what's going on up here for me? So my trauma, I feel like really closed me off, and I feel like I kind of hid myself away. I feel like I was over sexualized. Like I wanted my breasts to be out. I wanted boys to give me attention for me. In like middle school, it wasn't that I was fast, but when you grow up being touched or being molested, you feel like that's what a boy liking you equals. Like, to me, it was like, well, if a boy wasn't trying to touch me or do something with me, I felt like he didn't like me. And it took me until my 20s, to value myself as a woman outside of what I could do for a man sexually. Like I'm liberated in my body. I get to be sexual and still not want to be sexualized. I still get to shake my ass and not feel like that's an open invitation to people to catcall me or to speak to me disrespectfully, because at the end of the day, I have self-expression, and that's how I want to move my body. That's how I want to express myself. Growing up, I felt like if I dress sexy, that means that I want this. If I'm, I don't know. It was just a lot of blame, I guess you could say. I didn't know who to blame. I blamed my mom growing up. It took me till about 26 to really forgive my mom. It took me till just now to understand my mom, to be able to see her as my mom at that age, because now I'm her age, and it's like I'm navigating having a 5-year-old and going through life and not being able to be there for every moment, but also relying on my daughter to talk to me and be able to communicate to me when I'm not around, and give her that safe space. Like, I'm seeing how hard it is and how much kids keep from you, even when you're doing everything that you possibly can to make them feel safe, you know. So for a long time, I held on to grudges. Even just in my relationships and my friendships, if a friend would do something to me, I would hold on to it, because some of the stuff that happened to me happened in a place where I was at a lot of the times. So it was like, well, Mom, you with your friends, or you know, whatever, and this is what happened. So I looked at people having friends as they get used, or bad things happen, or I was seeing it from a kid's perspective. I didn't have the whole story or the whole picture or whatever. So I was constantly always looking for somebody to blame, because for me, I knew that I was a kid and that wasn't supposed to be happening. But there were no consequences for the people that were doing what they were doing. So the blame had to be on me, right? Was I being fast? Was I doing something? Like, did I look too sexy? Did I, like, because I kissed you, did I tell you that it was okay to have sex? You know, that's a thing. Because of my sexual trauma, I had a hard time setting boundaries as an adult woman. I would maybe go to somebody's house, or I would let them come over my house, or I end up chilling with a nigga, or, you know, he wouldn't even have to do a lot. But if it got to the point where we were going to be intimate for my own safety, I felt more comfortable having sex with the man, even if I didn't want to. Rather than just saying no. I didn't even know how to say no. I didn't even know that I could say no as a woman. It's like, well, if I'm putting myself in this position, I must have wanted this, right? Even if I'm just like, damn, I just want to chill, like I just like him, I'm feeling him, I go and in my mind be like, I'm not gonna have sex. And then it's like somebody touching you, and it's like your body freezes up because of trauma, because of that's what your body knows, that's what your mind knows, to freeze up. When I was a kid, getting molested or anything like that, I would fake like I was asleep. Like, instead of saying no or, you know, defending myself, I would just act like it wasn't happening. I would just go in my head. And in doing so, I created boundary issues for myself. I even now, I feel like up to this year, in my past relationship, I struggled to have sexual boundaries. Just being able to tell your man, I don't want to have sex every single day. My sexual health is more important. Me, you know, being able to take care of myself, or dang, now I'm hurting because, you know, like, just little things like that I felt were hard because I felt I had to please a man. And now I know that this is my body, like, this is mine. I have control over her, like, I have reign over her, like, she is me, I am her, you know, and I have say so. And it's like, when I think about that, there is a notion that, well, like, when men hit on me, like, when I'm in public, you know, I'll be walking around my neighborhood or walking around out in public at grocery stores, wherever, and men will hit on me, and I immediately feel like I get nervous, or I get scared, or I tense up, because me telling a man no could easily turn it into a man shooting me, or hurting me, or kidnapping me, or berating me. Like, even if it's just something as simple as calling me a bitch or saying something mean to me, you know, with me being such a soft feminine energy, that hurts my feelings. Like, it's an assault, you know, it's an assault on me. It's you basically telling me I don't have the right to tell you no. And as women, we feel like that almost every day. Like, every day, you know, it's scary being a woman, and it shouldn't have to be, but my sexual trauma taught me that it's scary to be a woman. I feel like it taught me to also fear men, and I feel like I don't want to. I feel like there are a lot of black kings out here, but that's not shown. Like, that's not, like, men nowadays won't help you with your groceries. They won't help you put things in your cart. They won't help you put air in your tire. Like, men are not chivalrous, you know? And I feel like my sexual trauma, my sexual assault has highlighted that. It's like, even when I'm not being sexually assaulted and I'm just engaging in sex, you notice that men don't care about your body. You know, they care about theirs. So in turn, mentally, my mind, when I'm having sex, goes to, this person is just using my body. And I'm 27, and I want to be able to experience great intimacy, the ultimate intimacy, being able to let go of my body and enjoy. But because of my sexual trauma, I feel like I don't even know if I allow myself to relax sometimes during intimacy. That's why, for me, sex is such an emotional thing, and it has to be such an emotional connection because of my sexual trauma. And in a way, I'm grateful for that, because I can't just be a hoe. Like, and not saying that it's a bad thing to be a hoe, but even if I wanted to, I just feel like I can't. Like, I can't. Like, I can't enjoy sex with you. I can't. There is such a glare. I'm trying to, like, block it out with my body, but it's a glare. Sorry. But yeah, so let me look at some of the things that I wrote down. I kind of feel like I've touched on all of them. Makes you hate family. So I also feel like it forces you to kind of put pressure on whoever your significant other is to protect you. Growing up and being molested and not talking to anybody about it, I feel like I grew up feeling not protected. Like, I grew up feeling like I had to protect myself, even if I had great parents, even if I had a great support system. I didn't see it. I wasn't aware of it, because even if they were doing all of these great things, because of that thing happened, that was so much bigger than anything else. My trauma, my hurt, my pain became my biggest emotion, the biggest thing that I felt. That's how depression had took over my life for so many different years and at so many different moments in my life, because pain was the dominant emotion in my nervous system. It was the dominant thing that I felt every day. It was a constant. The pain from the past and the pain that was happening currently were now concurrent. They were happening simultaneously because I was thinking about them simultaneously. I was correlating them. And that's pretty much that blame thing that I was talking about. Everything had to have a correlation. Everything had to have a reason why. Everything had to have somebody to blame for it. And that was my way of navigating life, finding out the whys, asking God why. Or I don't even know if I was asking God before, if I had a relationship with God. I don't remember. And that's another thing that happens when you go through sexual trauma or any kind of trauma. I feel like I block my memory out. I have such a hard time remembering things. I have such a hard time not hyper fixating on a thought, because I don't want to forget it, or I don't want to lose something, or like, so much has come with sexual trauma that it has literally shaped and molded me for so many years. And now I feel free. Like, I don't have to live in the narrative that I was raped or that I had sexual trauma. The first time I ever experienced pregnancy, not with my angel babies, but with my daughter, I got raped with her in my belly. So every time I got pregnant, that was embedded in my DNA. The past and the present were now one and the same. And that's pretty much how I lived my life for a long time. It was like whatever was happening in my life currently, I would correlate it to a pain that felt familiar. And that kept me so stuck. Like, it kept me, It kept me stuck, and it kept me in the same cycle, and it kept me angry. Like, I was always angry. I'm still angry. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, because I have things to be angry about, and I feel like anger promotes change when it is channeled correctly, when it is about passion and not about revenge or not about hurt, you know. So I also wrote down that it makes you grow up with trust issues, you know, and I feel like I grew up not trusting anybody, like even my bestest friends. Like, I had a group of best friends and I did not trust them. I did not trust my mom. Like, anything that she said, I felt like she was lying. Like, she could be like, I'm on my way home, and if she didn't come home, because she, into the 10 minutes that she said, I'm like, she a liar. Like, I can't trust her. Like, you know, and then it snowballed. Like, me taking everything so personally. If somebody told me, if my dad said, I'm gonna come get you, and you don't come, I'm gonna take that personally. I'm gonna look at you like a liar, like you're a liar. I write crazy, so I don't even know what half of this stuff say. I don't know what half of this say, but I pretty much think I really did touch on everything. I think it's still a process. You know, that's why I think the conversation isn't over. I think that sometimes we avoid telling our story in order to protect other people, in order to protect the ones that we love still. And I feel like if you still feel like they need protecting, then maybe you don't forgive them. Maybe you don't feel like they've learned. Maybe you don't feel like they are really apologetic, because why not allow somebody to see who they were in the past and be able to forgive themselves or love on themselves, or be able to gauge their level of change or their level of evolution. Because it has to be an equal give and take, even though things happened to me, or I blamed people, or I felt like people were at fault. Other people were also experiencing life. So I don't know, I just don't want to keep living in the narrative that happened to me. Like, it did. I'm not taking away from that, but I don't want to talk about it forever. You know, like, I don't want to keep triggering my brain to take me back to those familiar feelings. You know, like, I don't want to feel that anymore, you know. And by thinking about it, my body is triggered, and it remembers all the feelings of, maybe not all, but it remembers what my body felt like internally, you know. And that can be crippling. Like, when you've really just been through some shit, like, when you really, like, just been through some shit, like, I feel like everybody has their own struggle, but sexual trauma is some of the worst kind of trauma. Like, it affects your whole being, whether you're a man or a woman. Because as a man, I can't even fathom. I want to be able to accept who my trauma has made me and not continue to hurt other people because of my trauma, and not continue to hurt myself because of my trauma. I want to be able to learn and just grow from it. Like, I feel like it happened. Like, it happened. And not to brush it off or to act like it's not important, but at some point, healing has to be a choice. It has to be what you decide. And I'm deciding. I'm choosing. I'm choosing to heal. I'm choosing to see what God is doing in my life, and to see how God allowed that to happen, or even how God allows any tragic event to happen in my life. And I'm starting to see what that does for me, and how anything that God is doing to me is being done for me. So, yeah. That was the smoke session on sexual trauma. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got some insight on it. If anyone in your family has dealt with it, if you yourself have dealt with it, have friends who have, or you've just seen it on TV, but you haven't really been aware of how it affects people, I hope this gave you some kind of clarity or some kind of view into my mental and into how a person who has personally dealt with it goes through life. Because it's not the same for everybody, but my story is like many. You know, I don't feel alone, and other women do. So if I can be that being who's going to tell you that you're not alone, and that it's okay to be still struggling at whatever age you are, even if it happened however long ago, you okay, you good. You know, like, we have a safe space here in the Soul Family, and we gonna talk about it all. You know, we gonna discuss the stuff that's hard to talk about. We're gonna talk about the things that make us cry, and the things that make us feel, and the things that adults at our age go through. And if you're not my age, if you're younger, consider me a big sister. If you're older, consider me your younger sister. You know, we are women, or we are humans. We are beings, you know, who have found a place to fellowship. We have found a place to commune and to be together. Like, if you are vibrating here towards my videos, you got a story to tell. And I pray that by me telling my story, you are able to see the value in yours, because somebody needs to hear it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and share it on all your social medias. I am out of here, y'all.